In 1812, English textile workers took hammers to the machines that they were believed stealing their futures. Parliament called it an uprising, the workers called it survival. 200 years later, we're having the exact same conversation, just with better technology and worse punchlines about robots taking our jobs.
Don't worry, horse. It's not the car that will take your job, but the horses who learn to drive cars that will.
Much has been said about AI and white-collar jobs. At UC Berkeley, one of the top computer science programs in the world, Professor Honey Fade is watching his students struggle to find jobs. Something is happening, he says. The safest bet for the last 20 years, learn to code, get a tech job, it's suddenly not so safe.
Well, son, if you learn to code, I can't see what would go wrong.
So we have one last safe haven, the trades, carpentry, plumbing, the tangible things the computer is not so good at. But in March of 2025, OpenAI announced they're restarting their robotics division after shutting it down 5 years ago. And Elon Musk is promising Tesla Optimus humanoid robots in every home by the end of the decade. The big players are coming for the next frontier. The collision between AI, robotics, that work is happening right now. Except here's what nobody is talking about. The robots, they're not that good yet. And the reason why reveals something fascinating about human beings that we've completely underestimated. In this episode, we're diving into why your hands might be the most valuable thing you own. Nick, do you think that we've hit the moment where learn to code isn't the golden ticket anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the irony is quite brutal. Actually, we spent 20 plus years telling kids to learn to code because robots can't code. And now our robots, they code better than most junior devs, right? The Berkeley CS grads that you mentioned, they're not losing jobs to other humans anymore. They're losing to Claude, ChatGPT that work 24/7 for dollars per million tokens, right? Meanwhile, the trades, my plumber, $200 for a hello, 6-week wait list, and no AI is coming for his job. The golden ticket didn't disappear. We were just looking at the wrong ticket booth.
Let's start with what history has taught us though, because we've been here before. The plough displaced farmhands. The assembly line turned artisans into interchangeable parts. I imagine cavemen were initially quite offended by the wheel. Even the humble spreadsheet wiped out entire departments of clerks with pencils and ledgers. Every era has its reckoning with technology, and every time we probably make the same mistake here. We frame it as machines versus humans, as if we have to kind of pick a side. And what's the pattern? We offer design for efficiency first, humanity second. We ask, can we automate this before we ask, well, should we? Or what happens to the person who used to do this? So what's next? Let's look at robots. Task-specific automation is easy. Let's think about Roombas, how they vacuum floors, delivery bots who like a trundling down sidewalk, or warehouse arms that never tire. They're efficient because they're context-bound. But a humanoid robot is different. It represents general purpose ability. It's a machine built to navigate our world because it moves and interacts like us, like humans. That's where the stakes are probably a bit higher here. And in March 2025, OpenAI announced that they're bringing back their robotics division after shelving it 5 years ago. Elon Musk is promising the Tesla humanoid robots in every home by the end of the decade, and some of the demos are out there. The big players aren't chasing Roombas here. They're coming for the next frontier. Machines that can do everything that we can. So Nick, when you picture the robot revolution, do you see robots coming for desk jobs or on the building site, delivery drivers, things that need not just brains, but the arms, the legs, the hands?
100%. I mean, let's go beyond that. Nursing homes, medicine, I mean, in terms of care for lonely people or those needing support at home. And I hear you on Tesla, I hear you on Musk and everything else, but let's not forget the initial Tesla Optimus demo was a person in a robot costume, right? Weren't they throwing shapes, like breakdancing on a stage, like as this big reveal? I think the real thing here is a Tesla competitor. You look in China at BYD and the rise of things like that. In China now, they just had their first humanoid robot Olympics just a month or two back in August, July, I can't remember. But they have models like the Unitree One, $6,000 American, 4 foot tall, humanoid. And it's early days, but if you contrast that with the Optimus, I think there's a best part of 50 grand, 100 grand, something silly like that. I could see those being highly affordable. And if you've got one of those at home, I mean, we were talking before this about ironing and household chores and everything else. Imagine that at 6 grand. You never iron again. You never cook. I mean, the dog walks itself or walks by Rosie the robot. I can see these things coming hard at the right price point. And I'm just not sure that Musk's premium that he charges for his products is that point. But it's something like the Unitree R1, 6 grand. 10 grand Aussie. Yeah, I can see that. What about you?
I'll be honest, I'm using the Musks and the OpenAIs as the big dogs in this to be able to do this. But there's so many other players across this. Robotics is quite a widespread, field for a lot of people. There's a lovely Australian company, Andromeda, who has a nursing home robot that's very much designed for supporting with loneliness. And I love seeing these demos, and the little Australian founder there, she's absolutely smashing it.
Shut up.
But here's what I'm curious about. If AI can write code, go shopping for me, analyze data, and even generate art, thought required human creativity, what's actually stopping it from replacing the electrician or the plumber? Here's the thing about artificial intelligence. It's only as good as what you teach it. And to teach it, you need data, and lots of it. So for white-collar work, that data exists. There are billions of emails, reports, spreadsheets, legal documents, and customer service transcripts sitting in all the servers right now. I haven't been able to confirm this, so I won't name the company, but a colleague of mine spoke about a presentation given by a prominent software company where the CEO announcing that they've been tracking every single keystroke that their users have been putting in to help train their own models as a feature to improve their software. And I'd be surprised if this was the only thing the company was doing with that data. The data is there for these white-collar jobs, but for the blue-collar work, for the electrician threading a wire through a wall, the welder reading the color of molten metal, the carpenter feeling when a joint is flush. I did get AI to help me do this. I'm not the most handy person in the world, and I have no experience with doing any of these. So if any trades listen to this and want to question any of those, then feel free to. These hands, they're good for keyboards, not for anything else. But that knowledge from the carpenters, from the artisans, it doesn't exist in a data set. Exists in human bodies, learned through years of practice, stored in muscle memory and intuition. You can't Google how to feel when a bolt is tight enough. You can't YouTube your way to knowing the exact pressure needed to finish a drywall without gouging it. And you know why I know, Nick? Because I've tried. And my drywall, it looks horrible. But my best mate, who has done this for years, can recreate the smoothest of surfaces with a single tool. These are skills that he's built through thousands of little micro adjustments, learned through failure, refined through touch. Blue-collar work, that knowledge lives in bodies, muscle memory, intuition, and judgment. The data isn't there yet. Are you handy, Nick? Have you had that IKEA moment where you realize that skill is more than just kind of instruction?
Oh, God, yes. I can follow the IKEA instructions perfectly and still end up with a wobbly shelving unit that is just like a sneeze away from collapsing on top of the cat or me, the wife. There's this massive gap between cognitive knowing the steps and hands-on having the feel for it. And that gap is where AI dies. You can't train a model on like, that feels about right, or that ineffable, something's off here. I'm not quite sure what. That comes from those 10,000 failures that just never got documented anywhere. But then the other part that's interesting here is Sora 2. So we tie back to that and the whole idea of world models. Because what this is, these virtual environments, shall we say, digital environments where machines can get those 10,000 failures in, nominally at least. So what you can do is create an artificial environment where, let's say, an AI handyman could set up 10,000 IKEA shelving units, or could do that drywall that you're struggling with. This is the principle behind which Fei Li has set up her lab, behind which Jan LeCun is getting so excited about this.
Oh, it's interesting that you linked it to Sora 2, because I think as much as good as Sora 2 is and the world model concept is, it still feels like a world that's being described by someone rather than actually lived experience. Because I think this is still a bit of a limitation regarding the data there. For me, this is why a robot can probably nail a factory floor, and we've seen those lovely car robots that kind of assemble cars together, but it's probably going to struggle on the construction site. Every job is a bit different. Every environment's probably a lot more unpredictable. The margin for error is probably razor thin here, which brings us to our hands. Yes, the fingers, the things at the end of our arms. Human beings have approximately 200 million sensory receptors in our skin. Our hands alone have 17,000 touch receptors. So when you pick up a coffee cup, your brain is processing information about temperature, texture, weight, fragility, grip pressure, all in milliseconds, all without conscious thought. Now imagine trying to teach a robot to do that. You need the sensors that can detect the micro variations in resistance. You need algorithms that can support haptic feedback in kind of real time. You need the machine to understand context. Is this a Ming vase or a paper cup? You need to adjust it on the fly when something unexpected happens. And then you need to do all of that while the robot is balancing on a ladder. in the rain, working around other people, troubleshooting a problem it's never seen before. Suddenly, the plumber, who's told me he's going to come about 3 days ago and may still turn up and hopefully install that part that I need, looks like a miracle of biological engineering. This is why companies are so desperate for this data. Tesla, they have cameras in their cars recording how humans drive, not just where they go, but how we adjust the steering wheel when we brake, how we navigate uncertainty. Amazon has been studying warehouse workers' movement for years, trying to capture the subtle decision making that happens when you're picking and packing items. In a world where AI vacuums up repeatable tasks, the things that resist automation remind us what it means to stay human. Tacit knowledge, context, improvisation, the ability to sense when something is just right. We've spoken about this before, Nick, that the repeatable checklist items, please AI, take them, go nuts, do my checklist, do my calendar, do the things that are just the same every time. But do you think we underestimate how much of our daily life is just judgment calls and not checklists? So where does education fit? Maybe the future isn't about choosing between university and TAFE, but crossing them. Vocational skills teach us how to act in the world. Liberal arts teach us how to make sense of it. Together, they give us a kind of world sense making, the very things that I don't think robots can replicate. So, Nick, what happens if we produce graduates who are equal parts philosopher and also electrician or plumber or carpenter? I feel like if we can get back to communicating this being the real value prop of university and higher education, sure, you get the skills, but you learn how to collaborate, think, and more.
Yeah, 100%. I love this idea. I mean, the original genesis of the idea of a university was a bastion of higher education and learning, further learning. And again, there's higher callings, if you like, in terms of philosophy and everything else, but it's turned into prep for the world of work, far more pragmatic option. But yeah, no, I love this idea. It seems highly responsive to the idea of the 21st century as opposed to the 20th, where we're still in. And maybe universities have lost the plot on this a bit. They've been so terrified of being called impractical that they turn themselves into expensive vocational schools for white collar work. Maybe the pitch should be, we teach you to think critically, work with people, navigate ambiguity, synthesize across disciplines, and you'll learn some technical skills along the way as well. Again, I'd echo that. That's the package that AI can't replicate. Danny Liu talks to that, stuff, skills, and soul as a combination, that this trinity of offerings that unis could offer. Philosopher, electrician. Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
I'll be honest, Nick, I have no doubt that these giant companies will get to a point where they can suck up enough data, fit enough sensors in, and whirring cogs to something that replicates the human hand, even if that means building a world engine that just studies the hand. It's coming in some form or fashion, and for some reason, we are obsessed with recreating humans. But with our last episode for the season of 2025, a thought to leave us all with: what do we protect as uniquely human, even if the robots do get there? Well, listeners, thank you for tuning in. This is our last ep for the year, so it'll be great if AI progress just slowed down. But let's be honest, Nick, it's probably not going to. If you haven't already, please leave us a review, share around within your network, and most of all, hit subscribe on whatever platform you're at. We will be back next year, and honestly, a big thank you for being with us for the last, I think it's about 20 or so episodes.
Danke, Norway. Thank you, Norway. Norway, we love you. How do you say thank you, Norwegian?
I'm not sure. You may have offended them. For those watching on YouTube, we are on all your podcast platforms. And for those who'd like to see our faces, you can find us on YouTube too. We would love to tell you on what's on next week's episode, but it's not coming because we're going on break. And it's a world that moves way too fast. So you'll just have to tune in for when we're back next year. Until then, stay curious, stay intelligent. Please stay the human in the loop.